Hey, what's up, y'all? Q here. So this is it, the final season. It's been a long ride to get here, but we finally made it. I don't really have much to say. Season 2 was such a banger, I can only hope that Season 3 finishes strong. Speaking of hope, we gave her another episode to cover.
Hey, it's great to be back.
But let's be real, we all know why you're here, so let's just jump right into it.
Polymorphing in at number 12, we have Forever Phantom. There's a new ghost in Amity Park, and his name is Morph!
No, this is
Amorpho! And like every YouTube prankster, he sees himself as a professional instigator who shapeshifts to perform heinous misdeeds in the name of clout chasing. But when he sees Danny hogging up the spotlight with his good deeds, he decides to shapeshift as Danny in order to tank his image by pranking his friends and family.
Danny, my scrapbook! What are you doing?
Scrapping your opinion of me. How am I doing so far?
This villain had my attention on sight. Amorpho was really hamming it up, showcasing how much fun the studio can have when given the right tools. Between the campy dialogue, the silliness of his antics when he shapeshifts, and the after effects of his heckling, I was locked in on my seat, wondering what else this impractical Joker is gonna pull out next. But right before he gets a chance to really cook this episode, Danny pulls in on Amorpho, ready to throw hands. Mid-fight, the Fenton Scrambler gets activated, and before you know it, their molecules get all rearranged. Soon enough, I just found myself checking out on this episode. So what exactly happened? Oh, you know, a whole lot of Tom and Jerry chase scenes that only ate up screen time, everybody cosplaying as Danny just to eat up even more screen time, and how can I forget the over-expositioning that didn't need to happen near the end?
Huh?
If I had Amorpho's powers, I'd have shapeshifted into Butch Hartman, called up Steve Marmel, and begged him to come back and set things right with this series. Sponsored by the Guys in White, here comes number 11, Living Large. The Guys in White pull up the Fenton Works with a check so fat that the Fentons can't stop counting them zeros. And with the Fentons now having secured the bag, they book it on out of there to live the fat cat rich lifestyle in a mansion right next door to Vlad.
But you can't do this to me. You know how much I sacrificed?
But why would the Guys in White want the Fenton Labs to begin with? While Danny's too busy stacking up his paper and embracing the lifestyles of the rich and famous, it's up to Sam and Tucker to find out for themselves.
Stand back, Tucker.
Mission failed. We'll get them next time.
This episode went about as well as Big Crip Elon buying out Twitter. Alright, I don't have a joke to follow up on this, so let's get to the point. So real talk, this episode irritates me to no end due to the fact it's the same old formula with Danny having something good happening to him, but because Sam and Tucker don't feel like they're included, they feel the need to gaslight Danny into thinking it's bad. I mean, go figure. Leave it to Sam, who's rich already, to make Danny feel bad because she's rich too. And it also doesn't help that Tucker was the one to plant the idea into Danny's head to enjoy the rich lifestyle to begin with. So why are they mad at him? What makes this worse is that the Guys in White struggle throughout the whole episode to crack the code to break into Fenton Works' very own ghost portal, only to find out to be as stupid as...
Open sesame!
Like, come on. I know the Fentons aren't the brightest outside of ghost hunting, but really? Open sesame?
Oh my god, bro.
Oh, hell no, man. What the fuck, man? Get your ass on.
Overall, I give this episode 1 star, because there's no option to give you 0 stars. Number 10, Phantom Planet. Oh, nah. It's time for the 4th and final 1-hour special, and I'm not gonna sugarcoat it. Terrible would be an understatement. Y'all know it's gonna be a real bad one when Butch Hartman wrote and directed this finale after the GOAT Steve Marmel got Thanos off the studio. No snap. Class, take your seats and open up your textbooks to page 312. Sharpen up those pencils and be ready to take notes, because this episode needs to be studied. Y'all know I got plenty of shit to say about Phantom Planet, but I'm on a time constraint, so here's the TDLR. Vlad gets cooked by Danny and his crew, and after getting trolled on, Vlad booms his satellite like an idiot and dips off, sending the disasteroid down to Earth. With Vlad having had enough of Danny dogging him, decides to put together the Master's Blasters, and proceeds to disrespect the hell out of Danny by having them gank his Ghost KDR. No COD.
Pack your things. Get out of my building.
I was just...
You're fired!
After so many embarrassing kill cam moments, and with Danny having been fed up with Vlad's spawn camping, Danny decides to log off for good by getting rid of his ghost powers.
It worked! I don't have my ghost powers anymore! I'm normal again! Isn't that awesome?
Yeah.
Great.
Thrilling.
Oh, shit. Here we go again.
What? My way of life ain't good enough for him!
Soon enough, Vlad decides to move in with the Master's Blasters, being the only ghost hunting team in Amity Park.
Oh, there are certainly a few crackpots out there who think they have what it takes, but they only get in our way. It seems that when it comes to fighting ghosts, we're the only game in town.
While Vlad's emoting on the entire Fenton family, the disasteroid closes in on the Earth. And with all the options exhausted, what does Vlad do?
I have a proposition to make. The nations of the world must agree unanimously to pay me $500 billion and make me absolute ruler.
And with the bag in his hand, flexes on Jack once more about how he's going to snatch his wife up. But peep this. What was the material that the disasteroid was made of?
Asteroid composed entirely of unique anti-ghost element ectoranium.
In other words, he can't touch it! So his plans of making the meteor intangible was all for nothing!
Any more bright ideas, Professor?
Good luck trying to rebound from that, stupid! With Vlad being out of the way for the rest of the episode, Danny has to make like Pampers and pull up, get his powers back, and find a way to save everybody by making the planet, not the meteor, intangible. And so the only way for him to do that is to have every ghost in the ghost zone be all in this together. Is it just me, or is all the important characters of this series feel like they've been written by someone who frequents fanfiction.net? How are you going to tell me that the whole cast, after seeing them through 3 whole seasons, suddenly act like not themselves, but a flanderized, hollowed out versions of who they really are? That's some shit I expect from season 1, not Endgame. Secondly, why should I care about Nickelodeon's Kryptonite? We literally have Pariah Dark and Evil Danny. I know you could reach into that bag, Butch. Quit playing. What's even worse is that they rushed every plot thread in this episode, only to take its sweet ass time when it comes to the Danny and Sam scene. Remember the kiss at the end?
It's time to stop! It's time to stop, okay?
Yeah, they had to make sure to get plenty of time for that. They really wanted to close off the series like this? And with that, we're moving on to number 9.
Number 9, Girls' Night Out. Greetings, everyone. It's your girl, Hope. I'm here to be the token girl of the group reviewing the Token Girl episode. In this episode, Danny and Jack are going out on a father-son fishing trip a la Goofy Movie, leaving Jazz, Maddie, and Sam behind, and Tucker, whatever.
Fishing is a busy day.
You betcha, baby. Floating, napping, and eating snacks out of a cooler? It's not for the weak.
Oh yeah, girls are of course incapable of eating snacks and sleeping. We just hate those things. We hate them. Girls hate snacks and sleeping! Bonus info, Maddie's machine looks like a pair of tits. Girl power. So Johnny is out flirting with human girls because men only want one thing and it's disgusting. The lady ghosts show up just to get all pissed off about it, girl things. Side note, but I love how Tucker just gives up his keep me safe from ghost belt and gives it to Jazz, just to make sure that later he'll disappear with all the other men. Thanks for looking out for the plot, Tucker. So while the A plot is that these ghost ladies get rid of all the men in Amity Park, the B plot is Skulker trying to hunt Danny to impress Ember, and Danny has to keep himself and his dad safe. It's actually super funny how Jack just keeps happening to not see the ghost shenanigans. So the human girls are like, we gotta deal with this shit, which admittedly is a super cool premise. I was excited for this, like, oh hell yeah, girl power. But then I remembered this show is written by middle-aged men. Spectra is just hosting a cooking show because that's what women do, it's a woman thing, guys just wouldn't get it. God, what the fuck? I don't remember Spectra being so fucking fine, what the fuck? I'm not gonna lie, Manicotti made me lose my mind. I hate that it's funny. Anyway, Maddie is taking Spectra on, but gets mistaken for a volunteer, which I guess foils Maddie's plan. Sam is in boot camp with Kitty and just gets fucking beat up by a big lady. Jazz fucks up Ember's totally awesome girl song, which is attempting to appeal to the preteen in me, but just kind of makes me wish I were dead, so there's that. Jazz brings up the machine that Maddie was working on earlier, which just so happens to...
This can reverse spectral frequencies like you said. All we have to do is aim it at Ember's guitar and reverse the kiss as it travels across town.
Which is just so convenient and cool! The plan is to make Kitty blow a kiss again and have Ember amplify it while Maddie uses the machine to reverse the effect to bring the men back. Meanwhile, Skulker finds a big, beautiful dragon thing that would definitely treat me right, and Jack cruelly beats it up, and oh my god, I didn't know Skulker was a little guy? I barely watched this show, what, he's just a little man? Sam dresses up as Danny and acts just like him by being weird and sleazy and an annoying caricature of how guys are. So Kitty does her thing, Ember rocks out, and Maddie girl bosses on all of them, and the men are all back, yay! I love how Sam just has a brush handy to fix her hair that she pulls out of seemingly nowhere. I'm speaking from experience, not even remotely exaggerating, I'm being totally real right now. That's literally just how teenage girls are, like that's the most accurate portrayal of girls in this episode so far. We finally get some girl boss moments after nearly 20 minutes of suffering through cartoon girl antics.
Bye-bye. Hey! My plan worked!
What? This is a moment in history! Take a picture!
Then Danny and Jack come back, and they do the oh nothing much happened here joke and bring back that dragon so I can marry it. Unsurprisingly, this episode sucked! It's definitely a relic in that it's a product of its time. Girls versus guys humor always feels dated, and watching these kinds of episodes of any cartoon again makes me cringe so hard my skeleton threatens to fall apart. When I was given this episode to review, I read the plot synopsis and I was like, oh hell yeah, girl episode! And then the more I read it, the more I was like, oh no, girl episode. The only thing that would have made this episode worse is if Danny showed up and defeated all 3 ghost ladies without any trouble. Thankfully that didn't happen, but this episode still sucks.
Coming at you at the number 8 spot, Claw Underwild. Welcome to Camp Crystal Lake. Wait, wrong area. Anyway, we find the kids on a field trip with Mr. Lanza and Miss Tetzlaff as their chaperones when all of a sudden...
There's a ghost monster in the woods, and it took Lester!
You guessed it, the kids start disappearing.
Monster got Star!
Like this has been done 1,000 times when it comes to camping episodes. Danny, Sam, and Tucker search for their missing classmates, But Tucker suddenly disappearing puts both Sam and Danny on edge. A mysterious figure approaches Sam and Danny and oh my god, it's Jason! Wait, no, sorry, wrong character. Wolf is back! Thanks to Sam knowing a bit of Esperanto, she gets info from Wolf that everyone has been captured by that rule-loving, by-the-book, damn chief of laws and rules, Walker. After figuring out where the kids are being held, they break into Walker's facility, only to be met with a giant gelatinous cube.
The Ghost Boy and
Wolf frees the kids, but not before Walker gets shot by Sam with a clean snipe to the dome. The kids are sad, and we can finally go back to telling ghost stories. Or can't we? For a camping episode, it felt very cliched and just downright weird. The whole aspect of this campground being haunted has honestly been done way too many times. And honestly, there isn't really much you can do with it.
So he was like, no way. And I was all, yes way.
No way! So I was like, no way. And she was all, yes way.
No way! This can still be... I'm doomed.
Coming to you at number 7, we have Boxed Up Fury. After constantly getting dumped on, the Box Ghost tries to become more of a threat by infiltrating Pandora's temple, like he was on a heist. When sandwiches and shoes aren't enough to make himself seem evil, he reveals that he has stolen the one box that should never be opened, Pandora's box.
Greek mythology says that Pandora had a box that held all the world's evil.
You mean like this?
Now Danny must traverse this giant maze that leads up to Pandora's temple. But he must withstand multiple trials and battles before he is able to team up with Pandora to stop the trouble that the Box Ghost has caused. This episode is
horrible! Oh!
I mean, who knew making an episode about the Box Ghost made it even worse than Youngblood? As a matter of fact, I'm gonna make like Pandora and store this episode with the rest of the world's evils, and keep it away from everybody. Coming at you with the number 6 spot, we got Eye for an Eye. Tonight on TMZ, we got the Wisconsin Ghost versus Invisible Bill duking it out over who gets the title of taking things too far. And it looks like after Danny took it too far, with exposed Amity Park to the wrong side of Vlad, this man channels his inner Dr. Disrespect by returning the favor to Danny in front of everyone while he was in the shower. Looks like Vlad will be looking to get the next star role on America's Next How to Catch a Predator. Due to Danny overstepping his boundaries, Vlad has made it his top priority to become mayor of Amity Park and make Danny's life a living nightmare.
Oh man, he's overshadowing the voters.
I demand a recount.
1 for
Vlad.
2 for
Vlad.
Would you like another recount?
No.
Well, I just want to make sure. 1 for
Vlad.
2 for
Vlad.
He cheats at winning the election. Vlad taking over the Nasty Burger and banning all teens just to lose it, all due to him wanting to stroke his ego? Man took a bigger L than Rags when he got 2-stocked by Elegant in 30 seconds. This episode may have been a prank war, but the audience was the only one being pranked by how bad this season has been handling. Not really a bad episode per se, but I wouldn't get your hopes up for the future. Coming up in our number 5 spot, Destabilized. Vlad is up to his no good plans again when one of his trackers sends a signal notifying that his daughter has returned to Amity Park, seeking help from Danny. Vlad calls upon his ghost hunter and proposes a deal. Valerie brings back Daniel to Vlad, and he helps her move out of that apartment she is in.
She is as good as caught.
That certainly was fast.
I mean, this would be a good deal if you were on the show Deal or No Deal, but we all know Vlad is an evil, crooked bastard, and will do anything to make life a living hell for the Fentons. Due to unstable clone DNA in Danielle, she struggles with maintaining her ghost form, and it causes her to start dissolving.
Nasty.
But thanks to Jack's ecto-dejecto, Danny is able to save Danielle and cure her.
So once again, the day is saved.
But not before Danielle is captured and turned in by Valerie, leaving behind Danny to try and convince her that Danielle is human. For an episode about bringing Danielle back into the series, it was... I kind of wish they brought her back in more, like during the movies, or heck, even to help Danny for once. It's sad that after this episode, Danielle was tossed away like an old Krabby Patty. Valerie finding out about Vlad being Plasmius was severely underwhelming. I do find it funny that during one of these sequences, Jack has been stuck in a containment cube this entire time. Butch Hartman, man, did you drop the ball when it came to Valerie. With a character with such amazing potential, you best change your name to Butchard Hartman.
Let's just laugh at him now.
Number 4, Infinite Realms. Danny, Sam, and Tucker, while lost in the ghost zone trying to find their way home, run into a Yeti-like ghost that attacks them. However, after Danny removes the icicle from its neck, the ghost thanks him and introduces himself as Frostbite, the leader of this icy realm. After he recognizes Danny as the savior of the ghost zone for defeating Pariah Dark, Frostbite shows Danny a token of appreciation by letting him borrow the Infomap.
We have guarded it for millennia. It can lead the user to any entrance of the ghost zone.
Soon they find themselves back home in Fentonworks, unaware Vlad was spying on them thanks to the hidden cameras he has throughout all of Amity Park. With this knowledge, Vlad plants a tracker on Sam's backpack and awaits in 1600 Salem ready to spring a trap on both Danny and Sam, by claiming her to be a witch and trapping Danny in Blood Blossoms, or just nature's specter deflector. Vlad proceeds to steal the Infomap from Tucker and takes off, leaving him behind to save Danny and Sam. So the team chases after Vlad to retrieve the Infomap and stop him from establishing rule. So I didn't exactly explain the rest of the episode, but no cap, there's really not much else to say. It's just one giant chase scene hopping from dimension to dimension. That is, until Vlad inevitably ends up in the icy area and gets clapped up by Frostbite and his tribe off screen. The concept is pretty interesting for this episode between meeting Frostbite and exploring the Ghost Zone. However, it falls flat in the execution with every area they go to being generic and just a run-on gag that should have stopped after the first time. Overall, not horrible, still a fun ride, but it feels so aimless if I'm being transparent. Number 3, Torment of Terror. Vlad sneaks into a giant courtroom filled with observants and makes quick work of them, just to then free Vortex, the weather ghost, from their clutches. Back in Amity Park, the citizens are suffering through a major drought until Vlad uses a special barometer to force Vortex to make it rain just to boost his approval ratings. Vlad then asks Vortex to stop the rain, but he refuses, claiming,
"The weather is my art. I will not just stop it."
So unable to stop Vortex, Vlad begs Danny to help, but to no one's surprise,
I just wanted to introduce you to a friend. Danny, Vortex, Danny. Well, gotta fly, ta.
Betrayal. My hero.
Danny gets absolutely cooked by Vortex. After that easy dub, Vortex leaves Amity Park to go cause chaos with his powers of weather all over the globe.
Everyone in McKinney is dead.
Let's go live to Ollie Williams with the Black U Weather Report. Ollie?
It's raining sideways!
Sounds rough, Ollie.
However, their saving grace is that Danny absorbs some of Vortex's power. Whenever Danny's mood changes, so does the weather, so Danny must use the temporary new power to bait Vortex back to Amity Park and defeat him once and for all. So a lot of people do say Vlad goes from a very nuanced character to a mustache-twirling villain, starting with this season, and I'm gonna be honest, I seriously felt it in this episode. I think the term Flanderizing really fits for this season with how much I think these characters have fallen from grace. Granted, these characters weren't perfect and were heavily flawed back in seasons 1 and 2, but now they have the same energy of season 5 onward of Fairly Odd Parents.
This is the worst!
Don't get me wrong though, I genuinely do like this episode quite a bit, but it's mostly carried by how great Vortex was as a villain. Vortex had such a menacing aura from the moment he first entered the show. However, his passion for weather is what seriously made me love this character and put this episode this high. Any moment he's on screen is cathartic as hell. I did find his defeat kind of interesting, but it was so rushed I ended up finding it so underwhelming in the end. Overall,
I'm feeling a strong 7 to a light 8 on this.
But that's not saying much.
Especially for how things have been in this season. Number 2, Frightmare. Danny wakes up from a dream, destroying a helmet that was placed on his head. He realizes he woke up in the ghost zone, so he traverses back to Amity Park, only to find out that the entire town is also under deep sleep with the same helmets on. He thinks this might be Vlad's doing, so he pays him a visit, but nope, he's asleep too.
What is that?
At that moment, Danny is captured by these mysterious ghosts. It's here where we meet Nocturne and his minions, the Sleepwalkers. Danny begins to recall the events of the night before on how Nocturne packed him up and sent him to the ghost zone in an eternal slumber.
I'm not gonna make it, man. I'm just waiting for the pain to set in, bro.
Danny must now wake up Tucker, Sam, and Jazz to get them to help him stop Nocturne from draining all of Amity Park of their energy via dreams.
Oh, we were right there, man!
This episode was so close from taking the top spot of the season, with its very interesting plot and even more interesting villain, Nocturne. Oh man, and Nocturne's design, by far one of my absolute favorites in the entire series. James Garrett, the voice of Nocturne, has such a soothing yet scathing voice, it's scary how much it fits this character.
I am Nocturne, the ghost of sleep. And what I want, I already have, your dreams.
The plot having this very eerie and unsettling vibe to it did really feel like such a breath of fresh air. All the pieces were right here, but they just had to fuck it up by shoving more of the Danny-Sam romance, especially with that stupid-ass dream sequence. I get that Danny-Sam are essentially endgame, but man, I really wish they dialed it back quite a bit for this episode. But you and your team aren't slick with this episode. This ship is just as forced or even worse than the Bumblebee ship from Ruby. If you know, you know. It's definitely an episode worth checking out. That is, if you can get past the Sam-Danny ship constantly being shoved down your fucking throat.
Pause! Oh, yeah. Well, dreams, gateway to the subconscious, I don't think so.
Yeah, dream on.
Number 1, Urban Jungle. While passing by a construction site approved by Mayor Vlad, Sam expresses her hatred of destroying nature while Tucker and Danny seem more than okay with it when Danny says,
"There's nothing wrong with a little progress."
On cue, a new ghost appears named Undergrowth. Not only does he start destroying the construction site, but he plans to destroy all humans after seeing what they do to nature around him. Danny proves to be no match against Undergrowth between his hyper-regeneration and Danny's chills constantly hindering him. Undergrowth uses sleep spores to incapacitate everyone in the town.
Rejoice, for a new era is taking root.
The crew wake up to see all of Amity Park turn into a jungle, and Sam being mind-controlled into being the caretaker of Undergrowth's plants. Powerless to stop him, Danny's only option is to escape into the ghost zone. However, he's constantly hindered by his rapidly decreasing body temperature and Undergrowth constantly appearing everywhere. Danny's barely able to escape, but now believes there's only one person who can help him. With the help of Frostbite, Danny's now in full control of his new cryokinetic power and must now save Amity Park from the wrath of Undergrowth. So, Season 3 has been a mixed bag, but I can say this episode was a good one. Not on the level of Ultimate Enemy, let's not get carried away here, but still very solid. The plot kicks off rather quickly, and Undergrowth was such a huge threat that it barely lost. I'm astonished that this was his only appearance because I would have gladly seen him one more time over the twerp that is Youngblood. Mark Hamill, to no one's surprise, absolutely decimated the performance as Undergrowth with such a very chilling yet terrifying vocals.
Yes, the growth is far stronger than any meat creature, no matter how powerful they think they are.
I'm gonna be real, I'm genuinely surprised this is a Season 3 episode on how well it was written, because it feels fresh out of Season 2. But on the flip side, this would have benefited more being a 45-minute episode because it feels like it was only just starting. The first half was set up surprisingly well.
Yeah, they had us the first half, I'm not gonna lie.
But then just rushing through a montage till they beat the big bad within the last 5 minutes feels incredibly off-putting.
Indeed, these people live in a frozen wasteland. They take their comedy where they can get it.
And that was season 3. I'm not gonna sugarcoat it. This season was
so much pain! So much pain!
Trying to find good things to say was like trying to find a hay in a needle stack, with an exception of probably Urban Jungle, and even that episode has quite a few problems. These characters were flanderized beyond death, and after seeing the heights that season 2 hit...
Unfortunate doesn't begin to describe my series.
Steve Marmel leaving the series at the end of season 2, for whichever reason, whether it be being fired or quitting, really hurt the show. I will say characters like Vortex, Nocturne, and Undergrowth were very unique and respectfully carried their episodes, but it wasn't enough to salvage this season. The main ship being forced down our throats, plotlines leading nowhere, too safe of plots, and to top it off, ending the series on the atrocity that was Phantom Planet was the nail in the coffin. So what can I say about Danny Phantom as a whole? Well, it was a very interesting show with a serious kick-ass intro that deserved the attention that it garnered from very early on. I meant to say this back in the season 1 video, but the fact that the vocalist is Derek Baptiste, or better known as DJ D-Rec from Wild 'N Out, is kind of sick as hell. Seriously, I had no idea prior to making this video. However, in good conscience, I can't personally say that this series was a GOAT series. I genuinely do love this show. I just wish the writing team ended the series with a much higher note for its final season. I know I seriously just dunked on that last season, but it's only because I genuinely care about the series, and season 2 really showed us the heights that I was able to hit. But I guess we'll just have to stick to the graphic novels for any continuation, which, by the way, is definitely worth checking out if you haven't already. That's going to be it from all of us today. If you made it to the very end, I just want to say from the bottom of my heart, thank you. This project took us over a year to make, and I don't regret working on it whatsoever. Big thank you to Smoof, Hope, and Bestie for joining me on this long journey. Smoof really stepped up on the editing when I had to step away for most of season 2 and 3, while Hope seriously went all out on the artwork. I'm really happy with how it came out. Y'all know the vibes, I'll see y'all real soon. Q sign out.